today I'm going to talk about the game Starfighter from Gametime Games in 1978. Gametime Games did a couple of games. They did this and also Strange New Worlds, which I'll be looking at. Both those games are they're a little bit beyond just, like family games. I get a little bit of depth, but not enough that it's like a war game or anything. But it's kind of like, I guess, an introductory kind of sci-fi game. So there's nothing unique about it that I thought I'd give it a look at. So there's the box. It's a big box. 12 by 12. It's a tactical space combat game. There it is, nothing truly extraordinary, but, kind of appropriate for the type of game it is, I guess. It's, I guess fits like the, level of the game, etc. So that's the box. There's not anything on the back, so there's not really any theme with it. Often in these games, you'll on the back or in the rules, you'll get a little bit of theme, but there's not any here. So it doesn't talk about different civilizations you're representing or anything. So I mean, the closest it gets to theme is just kind of talking about it. It's not really theme, but Starfighter is a chess-like game of skill and strategy that is based on combat between 4 hostile alien races in the far future. Fast-moving and easy to play. The rules should still be read very carefully. It goes on. So that's pretty much the theme. Each player is sending a star transport loaded with critical supplies to a space station located on the far side of the playing board. Each star transport is escorted by a fast, maneuverable fighter and a powerful star cruiser. Each player's task is to get the star transport to the space station while preventing the other players from doing so. This calls to mind another game I looked at of the same kind of time frame. There's Asteroid Pirates, which it's interesting how, I don't know, the same kind of art, but they're in the same time frame and represent a similar kind of thing. So components then, so there's the rules, and it's 4-page rules. Like they say, it's an introductory game. It's not complex, but maybe there's enough here to be of interest. And then here's the counters, which they're fairly well done. It's interesting. Also, they're thick, like the Quinto counters. So anyway, interesting. So what we have here these are the playing pieces. Each player has these 3 different ships, and there's 4 players represented by different colors. There's damage markers for 1, 2, and 3 for each color. There's movement markers 1, 2, 3 for each color type. These represent black holes. These represent asteroids. And these are planet markers. And then there's different types of ships. So basically, the ships look the same in their different alien races, but to differentiate what they are, you basically put the description of it under it. So if you have star transport a starfighter, you just put it under that. So you have star transports, starfighters, and star cruisers, and you can have another starfighter and star transport, and then again in each of the colors. And these over here are screen markers, which like a defensive capability, again in the different colors. So that's all the counters. As far as the playing board then, so it comes in it's a board. It's a board. It's, I think, usually better to have a board than just paper. But from its time, like it was punched out of cardstock, as you can see here, for instance. And it comes in these, two different, sections that fold over and, go in the box, etc. So for the 4 different races, you have these indicators on the side. I mean, I'm not super, it's not super great, but it has these kind of star kind of like things, and the reason that is because the different directions indicate your 1 through 6, kind of directions as you see here. This is, you can randomize directions, so 1 through 6, and that corresponds to the different locations there. If it just said that, I wouldn't be impressed at all, but it does have some of these, other stars, kind of in the background, and that does give it some more depth to the board, so it makes it better than it would otherwise be. So, but it's part of its time, and I mean, it's okay. It does the function. So, those are the components. So I'll go through the rules here. Like I said, there's only 4 pages of rules. We talked about the theme already. Like objective. Each player's task is to get the star transport to the space station while preventing the other players from doing so. Each player is opposed to other players, and the game can end with only one winner, or an all-round tie. The players must maneuver their spaceships in the most efficient manner to avoid damage, while at the same time damaging and destroying enemy spaceships with deadly energy ray blasts. So we talked about the game equipment already. I'll talk about the preparation for play when I do the setup. So part of this game is the direction, so on the stars. So the direction of the spaceship is going to be determined by the direction in which the nose of the ship points. For instance, that would be the indicator. At the start of the game, the players may point their spaceships in any direction shown by the points on the home bases. All spaceships may be pointing in the same direction, or they may be pointing in different directions. And then the game turn. Each game turn consists of each spaceship moving once. Each spaceship may fire immediately after it's moved. The order in which they move depends on the order in which the movement markers are turned up. The following sequence is repeated during the game turn, so the movement turns are randomized. As spaceships are destroyed, the movement markers are removed from play. The player handling the movement markers turns 1 marker up. So these are, for instance, movement markers. The player with a spaceship of that color, number, the movement marker, then moves that spaceship. If it says move, the player may choose to fire it. The player movement markers turns up another marker, etc. So the movement markers, there's 1, 2, 3 for each colors. They're all turned down, and then you randomize movement each turn by turning them up and going in that sequence. And you go through all of them until the turn is completed. So each player moves and then fires. And the player to the left turns up the movement markers. So, movement. Spaceships may make different moves depending on their type. Spaceship's type depends on the type marker it's stacked on. So, as I said, that's the ship, and then the type of ship is determined by which one it's stacked on. So, for instance, that would be a transport, a cruiser, or a fighter. So legal moves are you can move ahead 1, move ahead 2, do a right turn, which would go to next point of a star, left turn, 2 right turns, 2 left turns. So in one movement you go twice. Add 1 right turn, ahead 1, and do a right turn, or ahead 1 and do a left turn. So those are legal moves. Every spaceship must make one of the above moves every game turn, because they have inertia. Spaceships that are together on the same star may be stacked on top of each other. Starfighters may make any one move listed during a game turn. Star cruisers and starfighters may only. So it's of these choices, you're limited by the type of ship. So star cruise and star transport may only do one of the following. They can either move ahead 1, do a right turn, or a left turn. So that's what the cruisers and transports do. Spaceships that move into enemy home bases or space stations, or which move off the playing area, are automatically destroyed and removed from play. So, according to this, star cruisers and star transports can only go basically 1, and starfighters can do all of these moves, including ones that involve 2. Firing spaceships may only fire their energy rays immediately after moving. The maximum range of firing is 4 stars. Damage done to the target depends on its distance as shown. So if it's 4 away, and there's 4 damage, if it's 1 star away, 3 if it's 2, 2 if it's 3, 1 if it's 4. So all spaceships in range are in the same direction of fire take damage from the same energy ray. The same ships on the same star at the end of movement cannot damage each other. The player does not have to fire. However, when a spaceship does fire, it will damage all ships that are in the range of direction of fire, including friendly. Okay, so spaceships on the same star cannot fire each other, but if there's a friendly one in your direction of fire, in the 1 to 4, it does take damage. Star transport spaceships may not fire. Starfighter may fire only 1 energy rate per game turn, and it must be straight ahead. Star cruiser spaceships may fire up to 3 rays per game turn, 1 in each of the 3 directions. So it's interesting. Black holes, planets, and asteroids may not be fired through. Any spaceship with a black hole, planet, or asteroid between it and the firing spaceship can be damaged. Spaceships are actually on a planet or asteroid can be damaged by the fire. There's no effect on space stations or home bases. So the damage is recorded by moving the damage marker for the damaged spaceship 1 space to the left on the track for its damage. So that's what these are for. And so for instance, for each of the 3 ships for yellow, for instance, this is where you track your damage for the different ships. Damage may not be repaired. When a damage marker is moved to 0, the spaceship is destroyed, moved from play. Spaceship destroyed before it's made its move. It's not allowed to move or fire. It's removed from play immediately. A spaceship moves into a black hole marker is automatically destroyed. Planets. Any spaceship moves on a planet marker must remain there and may make no move during the following game turn. And after the subsequent turn, it can move off. I guess it's like parking at the planet. Asteroids, any spaceship that moves onto asteroid marker takes 1 damage for each game turn it is there. So it's interesting, there's no randomization here, so it's kind of like it says, kind of a chess-like game. So if you don't have like a combat results table, it's all discrete. How to win the player with the first star transport to move into its friendly space station. The only friendly space station is one the same color in the home base is the winner. If all star transports are destroyed, the game is a tie. So home bases are the like the circles, and then the space stations are these triangles. Okay. Then there's optional rules. So you can do random black hole, planet, and asteroid placement. So this is where you can get some randomization, not in the base game. The 6 markers placed upside down of the black hole, planet, and asteroid. Player picks each marker one at a time, rolls the dice, using the red dice first number and white as second. For instance, 3, 1 to determine the number. Place the marker on the star containing the number rolled on the dice, and that's where these numbers on the board come into play. So, after all markers are placed, they are turned up to C. Hazards of space. Sign of the black hole, planet, and asteroid markers as in the row above. Only do not turn the markers up once they are placed. Leave them upside down. Again, these are optional rules. When a player's spaceship is on a star next to one of the markers, the player may pick it up and check the identity. This information does not have to be shared with other players. Team play. In a 4-player game, teams may be formed of 2 players each. To win, the team must get one of their transporters to a friendly space station, either color in the team. For team games, decides must be blue and red against yellow and green. Team members may discuss plans and exchange information freely. That's handy. In ship types, certainly place the type markers upside down under the spaceships at the start of the game so that their types are not revealed. This type marker is turned up only when the spaceship reveals its type. Spaceship must reveal its type when it takes damage, it fires using an array, it makes a move that another can make, for instance, the fighter. Different ship types in the basic game. Each player must gets in the basic game. Each player gets 1 starfighter, 1 star cruiser, and 1 transport. If this rule is used, it must be used with hidden spaceship rules and a variety of types of possible. Each player takes all 5 type markers and using 3 of them. It's only in the optional rules do you go away from using the 1 of each type, apparently. Although at least 1 star transport must be used. Do not allow a player to examine each other's markers. Hyperdrive. Hyperdrive is just kind, it's usually faster but less precise. Player may decide to use spaceship with hyperdrive instead of normal. To use hyperdrive, announce that you're doing. So the movement marker is turned up. Check the directional star in the middle of the playing area. Roll the dice. Put the numbered arrow on the directional star. That's the number rolled on dice. That shows the direction. Then move. The spaceship is then moved that distance and direction. So that dictates distance and direction. Spaceship remains pointing in original direction regardless of the distance removed. Spaceship making hyperdrive goes with the area. Our home base, space station, through a black hole is automatically destroyed. Spaceship making a hyperdrive moves through a planet, must stop on the planet. Loses the following turn. Spaceship making hyperdrive moves through an asteroid, will take 1 damage. And then screens, which are these. Screen markers show the location of protective energy shields. They protect the spaceship from energy ray fire. Must be placed before movement markers are turned up. So you place the screen markers next to the spaceship to a direction covered by the screen markers. So, for instance, that'd be covered in that direction. The screen marker placed as shown covers the spaceship from the direction that's fired. Starfighters and star transports must use only one screen marker per game turn. Star cruisers may use one or two screen markers facing different directions per game turn. Screen markers do not have to be placed, and they may be changed for a game turn. Screens will move with the spaceships as they move, and they will remain pointing in the same direction even if the spaceship turns. The screen points in the same direction if the move as it did before the move. Okay. Fire from a direction covered by a screen marker will cause one less damage than normal. The spaceship may not fire in a direction that the screen marker, no screen is covered. Okay. Tentacle ray. Only star cruisers have tentacle rays. Tentacle ray is an energy beam that can grab a spaceship and move it instead of firing in a direction. Fire that. It's like a tractor beam. A player may announce that tentacle ray is being used on any one spaceship in that direction. The spaceship tentacle ray is used on still by injection may then be moved one star in any direction desired by a player using tentacle ray. Tentacle ray may be used on friendly or enemy spaceships. And then finally, balancing games. To have even games, different skill experiences, superior player may begin the game with damage markers set on a lower number than the opponents. Differences in damage reflect the differences in skills of the player or the results of earlier games. Okay, so that's the rules. So I'm showing setup here. I'm just going to do 2 players. I'm going to do yellow versus red. So first of all, set up the damage markers. There's 3 ships for each, and I put the 3 damage markers on the 10 location for both of them. And then I'm going to do some optional rules. One will be that shields can be used. Another is that you can use a custom combination of ships. And then the other is that the black holes, asteroids, and planets are placed, with dice rolls. So say that, and these are the locations of the black holes, planets, and asteroids. The movement markers are all here, and they're flipped over, so I don't know what they are yet. Just putting shields here for now. So the ships start at their home base. And I chose yellow and red because they both, so yellow has to end up over here at starbase, red has to end up over here, so that way they'll have to interact. So they start the ship options I chose for yellow, and the directions are, first of all, you need a transport. They'll be going on top, and he'll be going that direction. And then be doing a 1 star cruiser and 1 fighter, so kind of the normal, kind of basic combination. Star cruiser will be going with transport, that direction, and the fighter will be going. It'll just be going straight to kind of maybe clear the way for it if it comes across stuff. So that's the plan there. And then for the red, of course, need a transport, and they'll be start out going straight. And then for that one, I'm going to do 2 starfighters instead of having a cruiser because they can go faster. I'm curious how that'll work out. So this one will stay with the transport, and this fighter will go kind of diagonal to also kind of clear the way. So that's the setup, then we'll get into play. So we'll go through a turn here and just kind of show how it plays out. There's not a turn tracker, so you just kind of keep going until you reach the end conditions. But I'm a few turns in here, and current situation is I have so yellow's trying to get to their starbase there, red's trying to get to their starbase here. They both have fighters kind of going this way. They're going to be meeting each other, and then the transports have escorts with them, and they all have 1 shield up. The one that has damage right now is the number 3 on yellow. which is this starfighter right here, because he was just hit from the fighter there. So go ahead and determine who's moving, and these are the movement markers. So we turn over. Number 3's moving. Okay, so the fighter, so he's going to figure out what to do to this shield. He'll have his shield going this way, facing that direction. So he's got 2 moves. He's going to rotate. Well, let's see here. So he's got his shield up there. So he'll still damage him, but not as much. He'll shield going there. Take 1 turn to rotate. And then he'll move forward 1. And like I said, there's not a combat results table. It just, happens. So at a distance of 3, he would take 2 damage, but since he's got a shield up, it's reduced by 1. So he only gets 1 damage, and that's on number 3. So he gets knocked down 1. Okay. Next. So then he moves. And looks like he's gonna be pretty successful. He's gonna move his shield over. And he's like going right there, so he'll be pretty successful here. So he's within 1. So y'all's gonna take 4 damage right there, so he got pretty hammered there. Move the marker accordingly. Number 2, red. It's a fighter. Let's see what his options are. So he's going to move his shield a little bit over because he doesn't want that blocking his firing. He's already going this way. That's a Star Cruiser. The Star Cruiser actually had 2 shields, so I'll stick with those. So the fighter can move 2. He's going to go 1, 2. And take a shot, right at the cruiser there. And there's no shield blocking. So at a distance of 3, the cruiser will take 2 damage. That's number 2. Okay. And then he moves. So let's see what his options are. So he'll get a shot right at him, actually. So he can fire, in 3 directions. He can go here, here, and here, but he's got the shield blocking that path, so he can't fire there. He can just fire here and here. So he's gonna move. He can only move 1 though, so he'll move up 1. And at a distance of 2, he'll knock him down 3. And that is number 2. So, what's going on? Number 1 is a transport. He wants to stay out of the line of fire of that one, so he's just gonna rotate this turn to go that direction. And he'll start with his shield going this way, and transports don't fire. So, and then movement number 1. This is transfer. Is interesting how that worked out. He'll also, so where is he? He's going this direction, so he'll go up here. And he'll keep his shield going this way. So that's that turn. It was, hopefully that was descriptive. So that's how it kind of plays out. And again, the goal is for the transports to make it to their starbase. Looks like they're they might have to separate here because there's a lot of damage going on there. Particularly yellow's been hit pretty good, but red some as well. So maybe the next turns I'll be spreading them out a little bit to take less damage. So that was Starfighter from Gametime Games, 1978. It's a interesting game in that there's not you only do dice rolling for a couple of situations in the optional rules, but the base game doesn't have any dice rolling. It's like it says, it's kind of, they say chess-like, but it's kind of movement tactics, and there's not randomization. In a combat results table. It was, I like the mechanics, which, is a unique part of it, and, that maybe if that's of interest to you, you should give it a shot. For me, there's really not any theme there, and I kind of like theme. And, I understand that graphics are limited by their time, but it just doesn't quite work for me, the graphics, for some reason. But I do like, the uniqueness of the tactics and the non-dice rolling, so I'm glad we looked at it. And similar games in the same type of game, which differences are, Quinto's got Asteroid Pirates and Demon's Run, which are kind of the same kind of thing, but they have more of a straight combat results table kind of dice rolling thing. But if you're interested in non-dice tactics, this might be something you want to try. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Thanks for your time.